Hey YouTube, it's daily update time. Thanks for being here with me every day to every other day for this. I wanted to address an important question that many people are asking during this very prolific, prominent, emotional, energetic shift. I call it the Shift 2020. That's what Dolores is calling it. She's like, the shift of 2020 is so amazing. And she says it's unlike anything that she's ever seen. For those of you who don't know, who I'm speaking about, I channel the lovely Dolores Cannon. And, we're going to be talking a lot about that on the upcoming channeling on May 20th. I'll link it below. But there are many ascension symptoms associated. And the biggest question I have about ascension symptoms are, number one, when does it end? Number two, are my symptoms physical or ascension? And number three, when does it end? So let me just tell you something that might be a grand relief and might also seem frustrating, but when I tell you why, it might ease your mind a little. Ascension symptoms don't end. They get a little bit more prominent until you allow your body to be the compass that it is meant to be. Your body is a tool, and essentially it's there to guide you into how your frequency needs to shift emotionally and psychologically. So in the psychological and more emotional constructs that are breeding a new energy pattern for you, that can show up in the body, can show up in the physiological. So your body is actually trying to work for you, not against you, as frustrating as it is. So there are many different types of ascension symptoms, as you call it, anything from allergies to constant immune system problems and colds, to that and asthma seems to go hand in hand, to, this is a strange one. I see this a lot in a certain archetype on this planet of healers. It's the the degenerative disc disease is what it's called. My own mom has it, and that is an ascension symptom that's lasted a long time for her. So this is associated with these 7 types of beings that were originally on this planet and still are, that have 7 missions. So 7 archetypes, 7 missions, and 7 pretty common ascension symptoms that go along with those types of lessons here on this planet. And the energy shifts are vastly different between these 7 archetypes who hold the 7 missions and have those ascension symptoms. So the hard thing again is they don't end. They just don't. You'll have periods of time where they calm down for a bit. But if they end, let me give you a different perspective. If they end, your growth ends. And guess what you're here to do? Expand and grow spiritually. So I'm going to discuss this in brief about these 7 archetypes and the 7 missions that go along with it and some of the ascension symptoms that go along with that path. And then I'm going to give you a lot more evidence in the channeling on May 20th coming from Dolores when she channels the information through. So we have the planters or seeders. They were initially introducing cells of both plants and animals and eventually humans on this planet. And they kind of seed everything. They grow everything. You have the recorders. They are kind of growing and recording the growth as well of all beings, both plant, animal, humans, all of that. You have containers. I know that sounds like some sort of storage unit or something, but these are technological terms. And the original beings on our planet, many, many, many millions of years ago, were kind of simplifying, and the language is, of course, different in our English now. So containers is the best word that I have for that ancient language. And what the containers did was they transmuted and balanced out energies of beings, both plant, animal, and beyond, that were coming from other planets and star systems, okay? You have the seekers. That's a lot of you here today are seekers of that ancient knowledge, okay? Coming from certain angelic archetypes from those angelic realms. You have the keepers of sacred knowledge. These are the shamans, very indigenous peoples on our planet. And then you have the protectors or the guardians. Those are the 7 archetypes. Now, let's go over the 7 missions within that. You have reflectors. So reflectors are people who, when you stand in front of them, they're a mirror to you. They simply reflect back everything that you see. And it's not always easy to be around a reflector if you are really evolving through a lot of what you're here to do on this planet. Then you will notice that you're quite comfortable around them. And if you aren't really evolving through spiritually in your growth patterns, you will find it incredibly uncomfortable. So reflectors tend to have a lot of the genetic conditions in association with the neuromuscular systems in the body, such as like really rare disorders like Ehlers-Danlos. They have interesting genetic conditions normally, and allergies, strangely enough. Then you have resonators. What resonators do, if you've ever had a tuning fork, for this analogy, bang it, and it kind of makes it sound, but generally speaking, it vibrates and resonates a certain energy that becomes light, that basically integrates things for you. So these are primarily empaths and healers of this planet, and they have a lot of the digestive tract symptoms, ascension symptoms, and colitis, and ulcerative colitis, and what else? IBS, irritable bowel syndromes, things of that nature. Okay. You have the activators. All right. Activators, I call them balancers of rhythm and flow on this planet. Activators, just generally speaking, have a lot of asthma and immune system issues with their ascension symptoms in association with breathing and the breath. Let's see what else. Catalyst. For that unique path in that mission, you have migraines and hair loss. This is all to do with the crown. Okay. And then you have, I have three more. Yep. Transmitters. Transmitters, you tend to have a lot of the skeletal issues. You have a lot of the degenerative disc disorder, as well as back and neck problems, cervical disc disease and things of that nature. Just general bone issues, and inflammation around that. So there's a lot with that. Transducers, you struggle with kidneys primarily and filtration systems in your body. Transmuters, now you get the more common ascension symptoms. So those are it's very interesting. There's one of just constant ringing in the ears, the tinnitus. And you also get an interesting form of tinnitus where it begins in this ear and ends in this ear, sort of like a dart just went through that side of your head and lands over here. Except it doesn't hurt. It just makes a sound like, and then it stops over here. This ear clogs up, and then this ear is way too active, with sound. Yeah, transmitter thing with the ears, as well as transmitters get the flashing of light coming by, and the floaters in their eyes. So those ascension symptoms are essentially trying to get you to remember things about your belief systems that require integration so that your body doesn't actually get sick. So this is important. You have to actually integrate the core belief deep within the subconscious that is trying to get your attention being reflected back to you by your body's technological compass. Okay, that is the brain. So the brain tells you, your thoughts will tell you that's your body's technological compass. It tells you exactly what the body's doing. And if you follow the heart will tell you why. And if you follow your spirit will tell you how to relieve the suffering involved with those ascension symptoms. So we're going to be discussing a lot more about ascension symptoms on the Dolores Cannon channeling. However, seats are running low. Again, I want you guys to do what you can to get there and understand if you can't, but I keep having to tell you because we're just getting to that point where I can tell that there won't be spots if you don't catch that. So I'll link that up below for you. And we're going to be talking a lot more about those ascension symptoms then. I hope that you have a really good weekend. I love you. Bye.